All right, show me the money. NFL picks are back. We are here to preview the conference championship games, make the picks for both games. Joining me today, good friend of mine. You heard from him back in week number 6. Joe Cioffi is here. Joe, how are you?
Michael, I'm in a great mood.
Surprisingly, considering your team should have been here and they're not.
Well, I was at the Ranger game last night.
Right.
So Adam Fox left me in a very good mood walking on Madison Square Garden last night.
Yeah, well, that was a great game. The Rangers did win. I know they're your number one team, but the Titans, I got to tell you, man, I watched that game. Very disappointing end to it. So, what's your takeaway from the Titan loss here? I say with a sort of tailor-made to go to the Super Bowl.
Mr. Phillips,
yeah.
When we talked about the Tennessee Titans all those weeks back, what did I say would be their biggest crux?
Ryan Tannehill.
3 picks. I mean, listen, like the state of quarterback in the NFL, I know is very, you're either here or you're everybody else. And Tannehill makes the Titans everybody else. Henry also wasn't completely Derrick Henry, but it's not like he had an awful game. You're not going to win a playoff game when your quarterback throws 3 picks. And I know Tannehill's a good regular season quarterback. I just can never see the Tennessee Titans going beyond that level of a team with Ryan Tannehill at a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because basically the way they played that game was extremely good the way. I mean, they held the Bengal red hot offense to 20 points. They sacked Joe Burrow 9 times. They had a key interception of Joe Burrow late in the game with an amazing play by Amani Hooker. And then Tannehill, all he has to do is not yuck it up. He yucks it up. So that's one thing you have to worry about here because, again, it's like you're in an elite conference now with Patrick Mahomes, with Josh Allen, with Justin Herbert, with Joe Burrow, plus whoever else in the young quarterback crops. Like, Tannehill may not be enough to get this team over the top unless everything goes exactly perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, and I know many Jets fans are saying Zach Wilson will be in that category soon.
We'll see.
But yeah, I think Tannehill's a good regular season quarterback. And listen, the Titans could have won this game very easily, but he couldn't get them over the hump. And I think their defense is great. A healthy Derrick Henry, maybe you beat the Bengals. But is a healthy Derrick Henry going to beat Kansas City? I don't think so either. So I think, dare I say, kind of like the Clippers in basketball when they had Blake Griffin, Chris Paul. Every year they were the 3-4 seed, and every year they were getting into the playoffs, and they couldn't get over that hump because they didn't have that LeBron, they didn't have that other player. I think the Titans are kind of the same, where with this team, they could be a playoff team for many years. Maybe one year they get lucky, but if Tannehill is your quarterback, I don't think you're ever going to beat the Mahomes. Watching Mahomes now and go back and forth, Ryan Tannehill can't do that.
No.
Or Derrick Henry can't get the ball and just run 80 yards every play either.
Yeah.
So as long as the Titans have Tannehill is a good quarterback, I don't think he's a great quarterback, and I don't think the Titans ever win with him.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot for them too because I was disappointed. I was invested in the Titans. I had some shekels on them getting out of the AFC. They let me down. So now they have a critical offseason here where they have to sort of make some decisions on players. They have to realize that, they had the pass up for them. They had home field. They had a good draw. They had to face both the Bills and the Chiefs. Only to get one of them. They couldn't even
had the bye week. Had the week off to get healthy.
And the bye week, which let them get Derrick Henry back. They don't even get to the AFC Championship game, which is a big disappointment. So, what do you think the answer is here? Is it just looking for a quarterback? Because I don't think they can get out of that contract that easily.
And also, too, it's not like Derrick Henry is young anymore.
Yeah.
How many years does a running back really have at Henry's level? You hope another 2 years, maybe 3. No, the answer could be they run it back and hope they get healthy and hope they get lucky. Because again, if you want to argue they have a healthy Derrick Henry, they win this game. If you want to argue with a healthy Derrick Henry, maybe they can hold the ball and run the ball and control the clock. Their strategy could be just let's try to stick with it. That one season. Because listen, there have been worse quarterbacks than Ryan Tannehill to win a Super Bowl. So maybe they can just run it back, get lucky, or maybe, they look to, they're going to have a pick in the late first round here. If I don't know which quarterback will be available that late because quarterbacks tend to go super early, but if they see someone in the second or the third that they say, let's take a flyer on this kid and see how he looks in practice and maybe build around him, maybe taking over for Tannehill in a few years, or if they just decide to blow it up. I don't think they go that route. I think they kind of run back the same team next year and hope, it could be our year if we just get a right break here and there. Or if Tannehill is any better than he was last week.
I think the answer is run it back because I feel like this year there's no good quarterbacks in the class, so there's not really anything to do there. So you have really division is very winnable because the Texans and Jaguars both in long rebuild. The Colts
That's
just get their own way. So you look at you're gonna be hosting a home playoff game and try and perfect the formula as best you can, make tweaks around the edges. I think that's what the play is.
And as you said, with the division, you would think playing the Jaguars and the Texans, that's 3 wins at least. You would hope 3-1. So that gives you a pretty good head start. Even if you split with the Colts, that's 4-2. And if you can be okay the rest of your schedule, they should win that division. I know Lawrence obviously is good and young. The Texans have a lot to figure out. A quarterback with Deshaun Watson, if he ever comes back, where they move in that position. The division is theirs for the taking for at least you would think a year or two. We'll see what they do. They're good. They're a good football team. They're just not a championship football team.
Yeah, we'll see how's them going forward. Let's get to the reason you're here. They were doing the picks for a championship weekend here on the podcast. My good friend John Stanko was here last week for a team challenge. He went 2-2 on the week. He had wins with the 49ers getting 5.5 and the Rams +3. He won the NFC games, lost the AFC games. He had your Titans laying at 3.5 and the Bills +2. So 2-2 for Mr. Stanko.
He knows his movies. He's a Red Sox fan, but he's a very smart kid.
Yeah, so on the year, team challengers 28, 34-2. They're 6-4 in the playoffs, though. So a good playoff run so far for the challengers.
All right. I hope I can keep it going. No promises.
Yeah, I had a very bad week last week. It was not good. I ended up going 0-4.
Oh my God.
Oh, the Pope.
Yeah. So to be clear, I was riding your Titans. I had the 3.5 there, so I lost that one. I had the Packers laying the 5.5, the Bucks laying the 3, with Stanko on the Bills +2. So 0-4 last week for yours truly.
Well, I guess there's only one way to go, but there's only 2 games. So would it really be crazy 0-2 this week? I would say no.
No. So to reset here, I'm now only 1 game over 500 for the whole season, 32, 31-1. I'm 3-7 in the playoffs. I went 3-3 last week, so I gotta pick up the game here as we get down the stretch.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead. We're going to do the 2 picks. We're going to do one game at a time. We'll start off in the AFC. So that's the first game, Joe. We're going to 3:05 on Sunday afternoon on CBS. The Cincinnati Bengals going to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are laying 7 points at home. Joe, who are you taking?
I think the Chiefs win, but not by more than 7. So I'm going to take the points with Cincinnati.
Yeah, so you're taking the points based on the fact you think this game is going to be close, then not closer than the number.
I mean, every game this weekend was close. So just looking at this weekend, Kansas City does have a very good defense. Granted, Buffalo, you can say, had a better defense than Cincinnati, but I think Burrow didn't really have his best game against Tennessee. He's way too talented to have another stinker like that. I don't know if he can go one-on-one with the Mahomes, but I see the Chiefs winning, but not by more than 7.
I'm going against you on this one. I have the Chiefs laying the points here. I think this is one where they're going to remember very clearly that Cincinnati beat them in the regular season, week 17 in Cincinnati, and how that game plays. The motivation here to get back to Super Bowl after last year's disaster here. I think Cincinnati in over their heads. I think this is sort of a spot where they're going to look at this and say, okay, we made our moment here. Going to Arrowhead in the playoffs, a whole different animal. I think they're going to run to a buzzsaw here. I think it's getting very ugly. So I'm going to lay the 7 with the Chiefs.
The one thing I'll say, Mike, is if you look at last week's game with Buffalo and Kansas City, the Kansas City secondary was a dumpster fire. And I don't see how it's debatable. I think Cincinnati has a much better receiving core and a much better running back in Joe Mixon than Buffalo does. So good luck stopping Higgins and Chase if you can stop that Buffalo wide receiving core.
All right, so that's the AFC game. NFC game, 49ers at the Rams, Sunday at 6:40 on Fox. The Rams are laying 3. Joe, who are you taking?
Give me the Rams. I'm taking the Rams. I think they're just I feel like San Francisco is a good team. They got a lucky block punt. They did beat Aaron Rodgers at home, which isn't easy, but I think the Rams offense is just too powerful. I don't see San Francisco keeping up here. Garoppolo's good. He's not on the level of Stafford. I'm taking the Rams.
Throwing heads up again here. I'm going to take the 49ers getting the points. I did lock in the 3.5 when it was on FanDuel after the game. It quickly dropped to 3 here. Also remember here, 49ers have won 6 straight against the Rams dating back to 2019, including this year in LA, week 18, when they had to win to get in the playoffs. They had the great rally win in overtime. There's something about this team. They have the dudes. They're very physical. And I just don't trust the Rams in this spot here to get the job done because they tried very hard to get that game away at Tampa last week. All the fumbles, the big play from Stafford at the end to win it. I think the 49ers are going to get the job done here, make it 7 straight over the Rams. So I'm going to take the 49ers points.
Dare I say the 49ers have like a Giants playoff run-esque feel to them?
It does.
Where they're not the best team, but they're finding ways to win. So I wouldn't be shocked. I just think the Rams are too good. I think the Rams I thought Tampa Bay or the Rams are going to win the NFC. They knocked each other out. So I think the Rams take it. And I think they cover that spread.
All right, so to reset the picks here, the AFC game, Joe is taking the points with the Bengals. I am laying the 7 with the Chiefs. In the NFC game, Joe is laying the 3 with the Rams. I am taking the points with the 49ers. And those are your picks for championship weekend here on the podcast. Coming up next week, we're going to do a special Super Bowl betting spot here. We're going to talk all the different angles to bet the game, whether it's the spread. We're not going to make the official picks yet. We're going to talk about the props, the over-under, the money line, all that good stuff. We'll talk about that next week.
Can't wait to listen.
Well, absolutely a lot of fun. Joe, thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it. People want to follow you on social media. How can they do that?
My Twitter is J_Cioffi. I usually just retweet things trying to win contests. And you can find my cell phone number. Mike will give it to you if you ask nicely.
Yeah, if you ask nicely, I'll put you in contact with Joe.
Anytime. I'm a very friendly person, I think.
All right, Joe. Thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mikey.